Live from Mackey Arena on the campus of Purdue University, Channel 50 Sports presents the best in boys high school tournament basketball, the Lafayette semi-state, as the Indians from Anderson meet the Lebanon Tigers. Now let's join Bob Alvarez, Phil Gerbic, and Kevin Medved live in West Lafayette. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mackey Arena on the campus here of Purdue University. We are moments away from the tip-off of today's Lafayette semi-state between the Anderson Indians and the Lebanon Tigers. Good morning, I'm Bob Alvarez, and with me for today's Lafayette semi-state, to my left, Phil Gerbic, and to my right, Kevin Medved. And Phil, we're going to start off with you. You've been scouting the Lebanon Tigers. What are we going to see from them this morning?
Well, Bob, Lebanon's coming in this game with a 20-4 record on the heels of a win in the Frankfurt Regional. Coach Jim Rosensteel's Tigers are going to try to play a patented slowdown game today. They're going to try to keep the game in a half-court style, try to control the tempo of the ball game. I feel this is going to be the big key for any chance of a win over the Indians today. Leading scorer for Lebanon is 6'3" and senior David Wright. David's shooting at a 23.5% scoring clip, and he's tossing in field goals at a 50% accuracy. Second to Wright will be 6'2" junior Scott Woods. Scott is going to probably be playing in the middle for the Tigers this morning, and he's going to have to contribute to take some of the burden off Wright. But I feel the key to the Lebanon attack is going to be whether or not their starting guard, Eddie Schilling, is going to be able to penetrate the Anderson defense. Schilling's dished off 136 assists this year, and it's going to be up to him to get the ball to Wood and to Wright.
Phil, quickly, defensively, what are we going to see from Lebanon?
Well, Lebanon's going to most likely go with the 1-3-1 or a 2-3 zone. They're going to have to try to establish good defensive position underneath the rebounds, because Anderson Club's got a 2-inch height advantage across the front line. Overall, Lebanon's got the best team down here since 1975 when the Walker brothers played. And I'm sure that they're going to give us a good ball game today.
Okay, thank you, Phil. And also with us this morning is Kevin Medved, and it's getting awful noisy down here on the floor, Kevin. Anderson, you've looked at them. What are we going to see?
Well, Anderson's 8th rank coming into the game. They're 21-4, and they've been here before. It's the 4th appearance here in 6 years. And you're going to see them up and down this floor. They're going to be ripping the ball off the basket and going back and forth. They'd like to play all 84 foot of the court. If they can't get the fast break running, look for them to work the ball inside. They got a big height advantage on Lebanon, at least 3 inches per man. The big man for Anderson is going to be Troy Lewis, hitting 29 points a game and 8.5 rebounds a game. Probably the most heralded junior in the state of Indiana this year. They've got a fine team. Steve Johnson, the leading rebounder, he'll kick the ball out to Troy Lewis's brother Scott to start the fast break.
And also I want to ask you about Anderson defensively. They've been holding opponents to about 52 points a game this year. What kind of defense will they throw at Lebanon?
Well, I talked to Coach Hale. The funny thing is they're scoring 72 points a game, but he says the defense has been winning the games this year. They'll pick up all over on the court. They'll probably go a 1-3-1 zone trap, maybe fall into a 2-3 zone if it's not working well, or even go to a little bit of a man.
Okay, Kevin, thank you very much. We're going to be right back in a moment. We're going to talk to Norm Held, the head coach of the Anderson Indians. We'll be back after this.
Mystery.
And we're back here at Mackey Arena with Norm Held, the head coach of the Anderson Indians. Coach, the first question is, you're no stranger here, so obviously that has to pose a few advantages for you and your ball club.
Well, it's an advantage for me because I know what the routine is. It's not much of an advantage for our ball club because they've still got to come out and play. But at least I know how to avoid the hoopla and all of the things that surround the carnival atmosphere here and keep players from getting caught up in it.
Tell us a little bit about this kid, Troy Lewis.
Well, Troy's a great basketball player, obviously. He's gotten a lot better this year than I anticipated. Probably the best player without the ball I've ever had since I've been coaching basketball for 20 years.
What are we going to see from your ball club? The folks at home, what can they look for this morning?
Well, it'll be an up-tempo game, I think. I know it will be as far as we're concerned. I think Lebanon traditionally would like to run. So if we get into the running type ball game, I think it'll be a great entertainment game, and I think the people will get their money's worth.
Coach, we want to wish you good luck this morning.
Thank you very much. Luck's important.
And we're going to be right back with Jim Rosensteel, the head coach of Lebanon, right after this message. And we're back here at Mackey Arena with Jim Rosensteel, the head coach of the Lebanon Tigers, who is also the athletic director at Lebanon High School. So, Coach, you've had to be extremely busy this week.
Well, that's true, but a lot of those duties, I have an excellent secretary, and we have a couple assistant principals that help out, so it hasn't been too bad as far as that's concerned.
Our viewers back home about this Lebanon ball club, what kind of game can we look for from your team this morning?
Well, we're going to try to play the way we played all year. We're not going to change anything. We have a young ball club, and we just hope to come at Anderson and do the very best we can. I don't see any. We've played ball clubs their caliber during the season. We played 4 teams out of the North Central Conference. So this is not the first time we've faced a team like Anderson.
You've got to stop this kid, Troy Lewis, this morning. Anything special to perhaps try to stop him?
No, in other words, we're just going to throw what we usually go, our defense on him, and hope that it gets the job done. I know he's an excellent player, but we have an excellent player in our own right in David Wright. So we're not going to do anything special to try to stop Troy, except try to play good all-around defense. And, of course, we're going to help. We're going to be aware of where he is, but that's it.
Coach, we want to wish you good luck this morning, and hopefully you'll play the type of ball game you want to. Good luck.
Well, thank you, Bob.
And that was Jim Rosensteel, the head coach of Lebanon. We're going to be right back to take a look at the starting lineups right after this. Acquisition and broadcast of today's first game of the Lafayette Semi-State is made possible through grants from American Savings and Loan Association of Munster, Indiana, Hooks Dependable Drugs, Pepsi-Cola Bottlers Company Incorporated of Munster, Indiana, and Midas Muffler and Brake Shop, located on Route 30 between Cleveland and Broadway in Merrillville, Indiana. And welcome back to Mackey Arena. Good morning, everybody. Bob Alvarez, Phil Gerbic, and Kevin Medved coming to you live with the Lafayette Semi-State 1983. We are just moments away from the announcement of the starting lineups for this morning's game. It's the Anderson Indians, and they are 21-4 on the season. They are ranked, according to which poll you like, Kevin, I guess number 8 with the Associated Press, and number 12 by the United Press International. So that's the story on the Anderson Indians. The Lebanon Tigers come into this ball game with a 20-4 record. As you heard Coach Jim Rosensteel say, they are just going to try to play an outstanding defensive ball game. And now let's go down to the court for our national anthem. And a beautiful rendition there of our national anthem as we are getting set to start play here. The 1983 Lafayette Semi-State this morning. We have Anderson against Lebanon, and then game number 2, the Lew Wallace Hornets from the Glen Park section of Gary go up against Benton Central, and I hope you stay with us this entire morning because it definitely will be 2 good ball games.
Yeah, the crowd's ready. You can hear them. They didn't even want to wait till the national anthem was finished. They were already screaming and cheering on. This is going to be a great game here, I think. Anderson and Lebanon both have the tradition. They've both been here many times. It's not a first-time deal for either one of these teams, so they both know what to expect. They shouldn't be in awe or all upset about 17,000 people screaming at them. So I look to see them just get right down in it and start playing their game right from the word go.
And I think Coach Norm Held for Anderson made a good point when I talked to him just before the game. He said that the fact that, and as you just mentioned, that he's been here, that's helped him elude all the hoopla, and he's just been able to concentrate on coaching as far as his players go. Of course, for most of them, it is their first time down here. So I think that was a very good point made by Coach Held, and it has helped him avoid all the hoopla. We're going to see how that's going to affect Coach Jim Rosensteel and his ball club this morning, and then later on Benton Central and Wallace.
Well, I saw Coach Rosensteel this morning, and he looks as serious as you can be. He was smiling, and he was happy, and he was outgoing and everything, but deep down inside, you can see he was ready. He wants this. The kids want him to win his 500th victory this year, and the only way he can do it is by winning the state championship.
Okay, we're going to come back, I guess, to Mackey Arena right after this. And welcome back to Mackey Arena. The roar you hear right now is from the Lebanon fans as the Lebanon Tigers, as you can see, are out on the court taking a few free throws before we start. this semi-state ball game. The Anderson Indians have yet to come back out after they've headed back into the locker room. But as I said earlier, these ball games, and for anybody who was over at the regional last Saturday at West Side as we were, you know how exciting those 2 ball games, those 3 ball games were. Well, I can guarantee that the action will be just as exciting here in Lafayette. The Anderson Indians and the Lebanon Tigers will square off in game number 1. And Jim Rosensteel, the head coach of Lebanon, in the pregame interview, he said that they were very much aware of this Troy Lewis from Anderson, but yet they weren't going to overly concentrate on just him.
Well, he's going to come right out and say that. Of course, he's not going to say they're going to put everybody on him. But he's the key. If you stop Troy Lewis, you're going to win your ball game today. But that's easier said than done. He's been scoring at almost 30 points a game, and as you know, Anderson plays in one of the toughest conferences in the whole state of Indiana. So Lebanon's going to have their hands full today.
And I'd like to add that in that championship game of the regional against Anderson Highland, Troy Lewis fouled out with about 7 minutes left in that game, and Anderson still was able to win. So they can win without Troy Lewis, and that's been a proven fact. But Phil, on this Lebanon ball club, and you mentioned this kid earlier, this David Wright is one heck of a ball player.
That's right, Bob. David Wright, as I said, is a 6'3" senior forward. I might add that he's the only senior in this Lebanon starting lineup. So he's going to give them the experience to go along with the youth. They're going to be showing us a control offensive game today. I'm sure that they're not going to make too many big changes because they're going to go with what's got them this far. So I think we're going to have to look to see Wright taking the shot and seeing the penetration of Eddie Schilling in order to pull this victory off for Lebanon.
Okay, now let's join the public address announcer for this morning's starting lineups.
First non-starters for Lebanon. For Anderson, sophomore number 11, Mackey. For Lebanon, sophomore number 20, John Bird. For Anderson, senior number 21, James Porter. For Lebanon, 5'10", senior number 25, Randy Campbell. For Anderson, 6-foot senior number 25, Patrick Finley. For Lebanon, 6'20", senior number 33, Doug Ravel. For Anderson, 5'11", senior number 33, Casey Clark. For Lebanon, 6'1", sophomore number 44, Mark Starkey. For Anderson, 6'2", senior number 35, Buddy Youngblood. For Lebanon, 6'3", junior number 52, Tom Mackey. For Anderson, 6'5", sophomore number 43, Larry Lane. For Lebanon, 6'5", sophomore number 55, Greg Burnell. For Anderson, 5'11", junior number 51, Jeffrey Jackson. Here now the starting lineup. At guard, 6-foot junior number 21, Ed Schilling. Guard for Anderson, 6'4", senior number 15, David Jackson. And the other guard for Lebanon, 5'10", sophomore, number 34, Joe Quigley. And the other guard for Anderson, 6'2", senior, number 13, Scott Lewis. And the center for Lebanon, 6'2", sophomore, number 22, Steve Wallace. And center for Anderson, a 6'5.5" senior, number 31, Steve Johnson. And forward for Lebanon, 6'2", junior, number 45, Scott Wood. Forward for Anderson, 6'4", junior, number 23, Troy Lewis.
And we're set for this morning's start of this ball game. Let's take a look at the Anderson Indians, and here's how they're going to line up. At guards will be number 15, David Jackson, and number 13, Scott Lewis. In the middle for Anderson will be Steve Johnson, and on the forwards will be John Harder and Troy Lewis. For the Lebanon Tigers, at guard, Ed Schilling and Joe Klinger. In the center, Steve Wallace, and on the forwards, number 45, Scott Wood, and their big man, number 14, David Wright. We are set for the tip-off of this 1983 Lafayette Semi-State. It'll be Johnson in the middle for Anderson and Steve Wallace, and the tip is controlled by Anderson. Number 13 is Scott Lewis. Lebanon immediately with pressure. Jumper no good, Lebanon rebound.
Kind of took that shot early, Bob. Maybe should have worked it around a little bit, get the flow of the game.
Troy Lewis with the first shot.
Looks like Anderson setting up in a tight man-to-man defense to start the ball game off.
No shot for Ed Schilling. He'll dish it back out. Number 21 is Ed Schilling.
Lebanon wants to be patient. I don't think they want to force the issue here with Anderson. They know Anderson can fly up and down the court.
Lebanon very patient here, looking for a good shot. Number 34 is Joe Klingler. Jumper from about 18, no good. And David Wright takes the first shot for Lebanon, so neither team able to hit that first shot here in the early going of the Lafayette Semi-State. And it's going to be Anderson in bounds. Number 13 is Scott Lewis. Baseline, David Jackson. Jumper, it falls. So David Jackson gets the first 2 points in this Lafayette Semi-State. And Anderson's on top, 2-zip, and they're going with full court pressure.
It's like he got away with a walk there, Bob.
And that jumper is good. Joe Klingler gets Lebanon's first 2 points. We've got ourselves a 2-2 ball game. Cross-court pass to Lewis. He's going to go with the short jumper, and we're going to have a foul called. Number 21 for Lebanon is Ed Schilling. He's going to draw a personal foul, number 1. Looks like he got some of the wrists there with number 23, Troy Lewis. And that'll send Mr. Lewis to the free throw stripe.
Yeah, he's shooting almost 80% from the free throw line. So he's the best free throw shooter they got going for him tonight.
He cans the first one. So Lebanon is now out, or Anderson is now out on top by a score of 3-2, and there you get a good shot. But Troy Lewis cans the second one. And Anderson with the full court pressure. Number 34 is Joe Klingler. 45 is Scott Wood. 21 is Ed Schilling.
Some of the fans didn't like that call, Bob. It looked like he got part of the ball, but I think he got a piece of his hand, too.
That foul is going to be on number 31, Steve Johnson, the big center for the Anderson Indians. So both teams now with 1 personal foul, and the big roar you hear is for the Wallace Hornets. They file into the stadium here. They, of course, will be in game 2. Outside jumper, yes. Scott Wood gets his first basket. We've got ourselves a 4-4 ball game.
Wood, a 3-year starter here for Lebanon. As a matter of fact, they've got 4 guys that have been playing together since 8th grade.
On the baseline shot, no good. Lebanon gets the rebound. They're going to set it up once again. They go to Lewis from inside, and he cans it.
Says deli from 15 feet, Bob. I don't think Lebanon can afford to give him that shot.
No, you're right there, Kevin. Excellent ball player is Troy Lewis. He's got 4 points. Anderson leads 6-4. .45 is Scott Wood from the baseline. The left-hand jumper, no. And that's what we knew Anderson would do. They love the transition game. Number 15 is David Jackson, gets his second bucket of the game.
Joe Klingler went down like a ton of bricks there underneath the basket, Bob. I don't think they caught a foul on that either. No, it was just a time.
No, and there you get a shot at Klingler. He's okay. Anderson with full court pressure. 21 is Ed Schilling for Lebanon. The score is 8-4 in favor of Anderson. And we're going to have ourselves another foul called on the inside. I think they're going to get number 15. Yep, 1-5. That's David Jackson. He has his first.
I think you see, Bob, that Lebanon's staying within their game plan. They're putting the ball in the hands of Schilling. They're letting him create some things on offense. He's driving the lane. He's also looking the whole time in order to find the open man.
Okay, on the inbounds play, number 22, Steve Wallace, gets fouled by Lebanon, or by Anderson. They're going to call that foul on number 31, and that is Steve Johnson, and quickly that's 2 fouls on Steve Johnson. So Norm Held's probably got to start thinking of some of his bench, and at the free throw line for Lebanon is number 22, Steve Wallace.
Anderson doesn't want to lose Johnson. He's their leading rebounder on the year, and he's the key to their fast break. He rips the ball off the boards really quick, so Held really wants him to play maybe a little bit loose now that he's got the 2 fouls. Maybe they might even go into a zone.
And the second shot by Steve Wallace was no good. Anderson quickly down court.
Lebanon set up in a 1-3-1 zone, Bob.
Long range, and right over that zone is Scott Lewis for his first bucket of the ball game. And we have Anderson out on top, 10-5. We have 5 minutes left to play in the opening quarter of the Lafayette Semi-State. We're glad that you could join us this morning. Fall away jumper, no good. Anderson rebound. Number 41's John Harder. Quickly Anderson down the court. Troy Lewis will take the jumper. You don't know. Rebound. Yes. Steve Johnson got his first bucket. You can't give Anderson 2 shots on the offensive end.
Steve Johnson's averaging over 4 rebounds a game on the offensive boards, which is quite a statistic.
And Anderson holds the lead now at 12-5. Lebanon still patient. They're going to go inside.
They got to get the ball to right. He hasn't scored yet. He's the leading scorer.
And everyone a little flat-footed there on the rebound as the ball hits the floor. Anderson comes up with it inside.
They might need a time, Bob.
David Jackson has 6 points, and Anderson's out on top 14-5 as they completely dominated play. And we're going to have an offensive foul. Joe Klingler ran straight into number 13, Scott Lewis, and we're going to have a timeout here. Lebanon calls the timeout with the score, Anderson 14, Lebanon 5. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to Mackey Arena. Anderson on top 14-5. Phil, some early stats?
Yeah, Bob, unofficially, we've got Anderson hitting on 6 of 9 field goal attempts. Let's make that 7 of 10 for 70%. Or Lebanon's only hit on 2 of 6, so they're going to have to improve on that shooting if they're going to stay in this ball game.
And Anderson jumps out front 16-5 here in game 1 of the Lafayette Semi-State. Anderson ranked number 8 by the Associated Press, number 12 by the UPI. The outside jumper is good for Lebanon's Ed Schilling, and that's his first basket of the game. Lebanon in the 2-3 zone. Nice head fake. We're going to have a 3-second call.
I think the 3-second call came before the foul.
And that's the call, the 3-second violation, so we will not have a foul. Anderson's out on top, 16-7. Glad you could be with us this morning. We have 3:28 to go in the first quarter.
John Harder, the fine defensive forward for Anderson, has put the clamp so far on David Wright.
And he does not yet have a basket in this ball game. Lebanon takes it inside where the basket's no good. Ed Schilling denied by the rim inside, and Anderson's quickly down court. Cross-court pass to Lewis. Lebanon in the 2-3 zone. Number 13 is Scott Lewis. Anderson out on top, 16-7. Oh, boy.
Nice pass from Lewis.
Steve Johnson now has 6.
Not much you can do about that one, Bob.
No, not at all, Phil. 18-7. Anderson's out on top here. A big lead. Anderson completely controlling here. Here's Wright's shot from the baseline. He's got it. So David Wright finally gets his first 2 points. He's Lebanon's leading scorer, and he finally gets his first 2. Anderson likes the baseline game here in the early going. And we're going to have a basket and a foul. David Jackson gets the hoop. We're going to see who gets nailed with the foul. Number 14, and that's David Wright, his first personal. We have 3 team fouls on Lebanon.
That height advantage is already taking effect here, Bob. They're getting second and third shots at the basket. And I'll tell you, Lebanon can't afford to give them those shots. They'll be out of this game before they know it hit them.
There's a good look at David Jackson. He has the 9.1 fall. He has 8 points, and he's averaging 8.9 on the season, so he's playing a little bit better here in tournament action. Anderson is out on top 20-9. Lebanon has to get back in this ball game faster. It may be over quick. They're going for the outside jumpers, and they get it. Scott Wood has 4 now, and they've cut the Anderson lead to 9 points and a turnover. Scott Lewis was looking for Steve Johnson, but some miscommunication there, and it's out of bounds, Lebanon. Anderson with full court pressure, 1:56 left, and we have a backcourt foul. Troy Lewis says, I didn't do it, but the ref was right there. We're gonna have a substitution now for Anderson. Checking out of the ball game is Steve Johnson, number 43. Larry Lane is in the ball game. He's 6'5", 175-pound sophomore. And also in the ball game now for Anderson is number 51, and that's Jeff Jackson, number 15. David Jackson will check out of the lineup. Jeff Jackson, or David Jackson, I'm sorry, he's in the ball game. No, that is Jeff Jackson. A couple of Jacksons on this Anderson ball club. We're gonna have a kicking violation here against Anderson. The ball will remain to Lebanon, but Jeff Jackson is in the ball game. And he's a 5'11", 180-pound junior. So Norm Held goes to his bench here with about 1:46 left to go in the first quarter. Anderson's out on top, 20-11.
Took a little extra step there, Bob.
Play some traveling music for me.
I think so.
We're gonna have another substitution now for Anderson. Number 35, Buddy Youngblood's in the ball game, a 6'2", 169-pound senior. And checking out now for Anderson's number 41, John Harder. So of the original starters for Anderson, we just have the Lewis ball players in here. Number 23, Troy, and number 13, Scott Lewis.
Now, Coach Held got that early lead. I think he wants to just give him a little bit of a rest here, bring him back in maybe in the second quarter.
Troy Lewis, the rebound, no good. Once again, Anderson had 2 shots at the bucket, but that time Lebanon was able to keep him from scoring, and number 14 is going to get a jumper, but we're going to have a foul called. And I think that's going to be on number 35. That's Buddy Youngblood, will be his first.
Without Harder in there now for Anderson, I think David Wright is really going to be looking for the shot for Lebanon, and he's got to score.
He has to. Harder's known as the best defensive forward. I was talking to Coach Held before the game. He usually assigns Harder to the best forward on the opposing team. Harder's got to untrack him because he looks, other than maybe Scott Wood, they don't have too much scoring power.
And there's a good shot at David Wright, who's at the free throw stripe for Lebanon. He gets his 3rd point of the ball game. Mr. Wright, 6'3", a senior, and the leading scorer, averaging 23.5 a year for the Lebanon Tigers. Second free throw, no good. Troy Lewis with the rebound.
And Mr. Lewis is everything everybody was telling us, Bob.
They say he's the best junior in the state. Of course, up at home we have Delray Brooks, who may have something to say about that before next year's over. There's a steal thrown right into the arms of Steve Wallace. So Lebanon, the score is now 20-12, and they can cut this margin to 20-14 with a bucket here. They go on the inside where the basket's not going to fall. And Anderson's got the loose ball.
We've got to foul the backcourt, Bob.
We got to travel there, Bob.
We've got a traveling call in the backcourt, so Lebanon's going to get yet another chance.
Couldn't hear, with all the crowd noise, couldn't even hear the whistle.
Well, this place is just about packed here, Mackey Arena, and for all the folks who couldn't get a ticket, we're glad that you're enjoying the broadcast live here on Channel 50, the sports leader in Northwest Indiana. The jumper is going to fall. Ed Schilling's got point number 4, and Lebanon's closed this one to a 2014 ball game.
They gave him an easy 12-footer. He's got to take that shot.
Lewis with his first shot from the left side. He gets that one to fall. He now has 6 points, and Anderson's on top, 22-14. We have 17 seconds left to play in the first quarter.
You're working to the last shot.
Right, fall away jumper, yes. He now has 5 points, and it's 22-16. So at the end of 1 quarter of play, the score reads Anderson 22, Lebanon 16. We'll be right back after this. Okay, we're back here at West Lafayette, the semi-state here in Purdue's Mackey Arena. The score is 22-16 as we head into the second quarter of play. And jumping it up will be Steve Johnson up against number 14, David Wright, and we'll have a re-jump. Phil, you have some stats for us there in the first half of play.
Yeah, Bob, in the first quarter, unofficially, Anderson ended up 9 of 16 from the field for 56%. Lebanon came back strong in the last 4 minutes to end up at a 54% clip, hitting on 7 of 13. That's what's bringing them back in this ball game.
And we're going to have a foul called here. We saw the action.
I didn't see that one, Bob. He just went up for the ball, and ref caught it from the far court. So Anderson's got the starters back in now. We're back at the starting lineup.
The foul was on Scott Lewis, and that's his first. We have 5 team fouls now for Anderson, so that means Lebanon will be in the 1-and-1, be in the bonus situation. First is good. Number 22, Steve Wallace, gets his second point of the ball game. Second one is also good.
Not bad. He's a 60% shooter from the line. It's 2 out of 2. He's got to be more than happy with it.
Lebanon still in the 2-3 zone. The alley-oop inside. We're going to have a foul. Steve Johnson received the alley-oop pass on the inside. The referee right there called the foul.
It's the second time they've worked that play. The first time they went with a basket. This time he was just up a little bit too early. He still drew the foul, though.
So David Wright picks up number 2. 4 team fouls now on Anderson, going to the line for Lebanon. 4 team fouls on Lebanon for Anderson. There you have a good look at Steve Johnson. First one no good.
He's a 60% shooter from the line too, Bob.
6'5.5", 210 pounds, and he's a senior, averaging 9.7 a ball game. Gets number 2 to fall, so he now has 7 points on the ball game. Anderson out on top, 23-18. We have 7:41 remaining in the second quarter.
Anderson into a zone now. I mean, into a man. They got out of that zone trap. Now they're playing straight man.
And Anderson, with the pressure, forces the turnover, so they'll get the ball in bounds.
That evens up the turnovers, Bob, at 3 apiece so far.
There's a brick, but Anderson gets the rebound, and once again they get the second shot. It's Johnson. He now has 9 points, so he's at his average. No shot for Wright. Take it down on the baseline to Wallace. Back outside to Klingler. He's going to set it up.
Carter's just shadowing Wright. Anywhere he goes, he's trying to keep a hand in his face at all times.
And we're going to have a travel call, another turnover.
Pin that ball on his hip, Bob.
Scott Wood, number 45 for Lebanon, with the turnover. There you get a good shot of John Harder.
Long drink of water from Mr. Harder, though.
Big man. Lewis baseline. No, but we're going to have a push-off.
That's his third, I think, Bob.
You're right, Steve Johnson with the push-off, and that is foul number 3, and we have a timeout with 6:56 remaining in the second quarter. Anderson leads 25-18. We'll be back after this.
6.
And here at Mackey Arena, Anderson is up on top, 25-18 over Lebanon. Steve Wallace at the free throw stripe with a 1-on-1 and misses the front end. Johnson high with the rebound.
Kind of surprised Coach Held kept Johnson in with his 3 fouls.
Well, we'll see if he learns to regret that one.
They may try to protect him, though, defensively and put him, maybe go into a little bit of a zone.
Nice block by Wallace. Lebanon down 25-18. Anderson has more or less controlled this entire ball game. Klingler from 15, no. And
Bodies are hitting there, Bobby.
And that Klingler fell right back on his behind, and I guess that's what you call the fall-away jumper.
It's about as far away as you can get.
Bob, we've already played almost a minute and a half in this third quarter, and that's the first shot that Lebanon's played, or first shot that they've taken since the start of the second quarter.
Anderson out on top, 25-18. Lebanon in the zone. Lewis over the zone, won't get it to fall. Lebanon rebound.
Looked like he might have been fouled after the shot.
Wright's going to like the baseline, but it's not going to fall for him. Gets his own rebound over the back.
They might have made up for that one there, Bob. I think White got fouled. Lewis got fouled here after the shot on this other end, and it didn't look like too much of a foul down here, especially after the way people have been hitting the floor today.
And I'll tell you what, that's not good news for Lebanon. David Wright has his 3rd foul, and that is 5 team fouls now on Lebanon, so that takes Anderson to the stripe.
No, that puts big problems for Coach Still.
Troy Lewis, the first free throw, that's good. He now has 7 points in this ball game. Troy Lewis, an excellent free throw shooter, 79%. So he's not the guy you want to foul, especially late if this ball game gets to be tight. He cans them both. So Anderson now leads by 9, 27-18. We have 5 minutes and 57 seconds left to play in the first half. Game number 1 of the Lafayette Semi-State immediately following this ball game. The Hornets, Lou Wallace against Benton Central. And once again, Lebanon can't get the shot to fall as they're going for the outside range. Anderson the rebound, and quickly they attack.
Nice pass.
Got
That's
a
his
foul.
4th. That's his 4th.
So Steve Johnson a little bit too aggressive. And coming off the bench now, we're going to have number 43 enter the ball game. That's going to be Larry Lane. And he's a 6'5", 175-pound sophomore. So he's going to come in for Steve Johnson, who exits with 9 points, but more importantly, he has 4 personal fouls.
Well, Coach Hill gambled there, and he lost. He didn't want to see him pick up that 4th foul here this early in the 2nd quarter.
So that'll send Steve Wallace to the foul line. He's got this one. That makes him 4 out of 5 from the line. All of his points here coming from the charity stripe, and he now has 4 points. Wallace will get a 2nd shot, and he won't get this one to fall. Nice shot there on our floor level camera here at Purdue's Mackey Arena.
Lewis is playing out now. Troy Lewis.
Troy Lewis putting on a show here. He now has 10 points, and a couple years ago we were down here and we saw Andre Morgan play for Anderson, and Lewis more or less the same type ball player.
Got away with the travel there, Bob.
David Jackson, he now has 10, and quickly Anderson's opened up a 31-19 lead.
Coach Rosen still wanted to travel there on Larry Lane. He was on the floor and he picked himself up and got off the floor and passed it.
And David Wright answers for Lebanon from about 17 feet out. He has 7 points. We have ourselves a 31-21 ball game. It's Anderson by 10.
Nice steal by Wright here. Watch for the...
Nice control by Lewis.
Nice body control.
So Anderson's out on top now by a score of 33-21. Once again, Lebanon settling for long range, and they're not getting any second shots at all here on the offensive end.
They're well outmanned size-wise anyway. Another offensive rebound.
But a charge.
He pushed him off at the arm.
That'll be on number 43. Larry Lane grabs his first personal foul.
Sophomore's awful aggressive coming in off the bench.
We're going to have a timeout here. So we've got 3:47 to go here in the first half. Anderson leads 33-21. We'll be right back.
The splendor of medieval pageantry. Some of the most beloved.
30.
We're back at Mackey Arena where Anderson holds a 33-21 lead here over the Lebanon Tigers. We have 3:42 left to play here in the first half. And Phil, you have an update on some figures for us.
Right. Bob, right now I've got Lebanon hitting only on 1 of 5 attempts in this second quarter. The rest of their points have come on free throws. They're going to have to improve in that 20% shooting because otherwise they're not going to be able to stay in this ball game.
But we're going to have a foul called there, a push-off. That was on number 44, Mark Starkey, who's now in the ball game. That's his first personal foul. And of course, both teams are now in the bonus situation. John Harder will go to the line. He's looking for his first points, Kevin.
73% shooter from the line, Bob. He's one of the more intelligent players. As a matter of fact, he's going to be going to Princeton next year. He'll be doing a little Ivy League.
Now, you can't be a dummy to go to Princeton. I know that.
There you go.
So Harder cans his first free throw of the ball game. It's his first point. He's looking for point number 2, and there you get a good shot at the senior. Won't get this one to fall. And number 22 for the rebound is Steve Wallace for Lebanon. So Anderson's now on top by 13, 34-21.
I'm impressed with him. Great defensive ball players. So far, he's really shut down David Wright.
Well, you talked to Norm Held, and he told you that Harder was their best defensive ball player and that he would probably be on Wright, and he's done the job.
Yeah, he's proved him right, too.
Been on him like an envelope. Troy Lewis isn't shy. He'll put it up, but won't get it to fall. Klingler with the rebound.
Harder forced him to go up a little higher than he wanted to with that shot.
The lid on the basket for Lebanon. Anderson quickly down court. Harder passes up the shot for Lewis. Yes. 14 big ones for Troy Lewis. He's obviously the leading scorer in this ball game. David,
I can see why everybody's writing him up down here.
Well, we've heard a lot about him.
He does it all.
Lebanon's going to get one to fall, and that's Steve Wallace, his first bucket from the field. He has 6 points on the ball game. Harder won't take it. Scott Lewis will.
They're leaving the middle wide open.
Well, some of the people I had talked to, they said Lebanon does leave their middle open. If you have a good inside game, you can beat them, and that's what's been happening so far here in the first half of play.
Yeah, if they haven't been scoring on the fast break, that's exactly what they've been doing. They've been taking the ball underneath to their big men.
Lebanon will attack inside. A loose ball. It's Anderson.
It was Larry Lane picked up the ball. Aggressive sophomore here.
Coach Norm Held wants the timeout. So we've got 1:51 left to play in the first half. Anderson's out on top, 38-23. We'll be back to Mackey Arena after this.
Next on at 7.
And we're back in West Lafayette, Indiana, where Anderson holds a big lead right now at 38-23 over Lebanon. Nice shot by Klingler.
I don't know if Coach Held caught timeout, so they could come in and take a 20-footer there, Bob.
Well, you're probably right about that, Ken. Anderson's out on top by 13, 38-25. They're going to take it inside the baseline. We've got a charge. David Jackson, second foul on him. Jackson's been shut down for a while. He scored 8 points in the first quarter, has just 1 bucket here in the second quarter for a total of 10. And Anderson's decided that they're going to lay off that press here in the last minute 25. Near steal. Baseline.
Anderson looks a little too quick for Lebanon, Bob.
We've got a foul over the back, and I think that's going to go to number 22, Steve Wallace. I have him for his first foul.
Lebanon having a hard time penetrating. Underneath, they're really outmanned size-wise, but their guards don't seem to be able to get the ball inside because the 2 guards for Anderson putting too much pressure on them. They're lucky just to keep their dribble. They're not even trying to penetrate. They're just happy with not getting the ball stolen.
And for Anderson, Larry Lane gets the first one to fall. Phil, turnovers the story right here.
Well, right now, Bob, we've got Lebanon with 8 turnovers compared to Anderson's 4, and that's a big difference in this ball game. Anderson's been able to take more shots, and of course, they've got more points on the board because of it.
Another offensive rebound.
And a second shot for Anderson. David Jackson now has 12 points.
But that's about the 6th basket they've got off the offensive boards, Bob.
And that's been the difference. That and the turnovers have hurt Lebanon. They are down 41-25. Anderson averaging close to about 77, 79 points a game on the year, and they're on their way there already. We've got 45 seconds left to play, and near steal.
Good defense, Bob. Lebanon looks a little rattled out there. They don't seem to really know what they want to do offensively, but I think the main reason is that is just because of Anderson's defense.
And we have a couple of changes right now for Anderson. Into the lineup is number 11, and that is McKinney, James McKinney. And Ken, another substitution.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jackson's coming in for Troy Lewis. I don't think Coach Held wants to let Lewis pick up another foul. He's got the good lead here with less than a minute to go in the first half, so he says, I might as well play it safe and put him on the bench.
We've got 36 seconds left. Right from the outside, won't get it to fall. Lebanon's finally going to get a second shot on the offensive board, and they make it count. Klingler now has 6 points, and it's 41-27 now in favor of Anderson.
I think we'll see Anderson go for one shot, Bob.
Well, you called it on the head there, Phil. Anderson's going to go for the last shot. Number 11 is McKinney. 51 is Jeff Jackson. We'll see who gets the shot. Troy Lewis is not in the ball game. McKinney will take it, won't get it to fall. Lebanon with the rebound. Time's going to run out here.
No basket.
Okay, so we finished one half of play here in the first game of the Lafayette Semi-State, and the score is Anderson 41 and Lebanon 27. We'll be back with halftime activity after this.
Acquisition and broadcast of today's first game of the Lafayette Semi-State is made possible through grants from American Savings and Loan Association of Munster, Indiana, Hooks Dependable Drugs, Pepsi-Cola Bottlers Company Incorporated of Munster, Indiana, and Midas Muffler and Brake Shop, located on Route 30 between Cleveland and Broadway in...
And welcome back to Purdue's Mackey Arena. We're coming to you live here on the campus of Purdue University, Mackey Arena, West Lafayette. We're at the half. Anderson is out on top, 41-27. I'm Bob Alvarez, and with me this morning and throughout this morning and this evening, Kevin Medved and Phil Gerbic. Glad to have them aboard. And don't forget, coming up in Game 2, it's Benton Central against L-Dub. Lou Wallace, and you have 3 Lou Wallace graduates sitting right here. The fellows are a little bit older than I am. They skated from Wallace in 72. I graduated in 73, so we're looking forward to that one. But more importantly, we're at the halftime of this ball game between Anderson and Lebanon. And Kevin, just your thoughts so far about this ball game.
Well, I think Anderson's done everything they've wanted to do so far. Talking to Coach Held, he says he wanted to run the ball when they had a chance. They wanted to block out on defense. On the offensive rebounds, they wanted to take control of, and that's exactly what they've done. They've had maybe 6 or 7 offensive baskets, and they're limiting Lebanon to maybe 1 shot at the basket. Lebanon can't get underneath at all after the first shot. And their full court press really didn't hurt too much, Lebanon, but it kind of set the tempo for the game. They got out of that full court press, and Lebanon was still moving the ball up and down the court. It's a 14-point lead. It's not insurmountable, but Lebanon's really got their work cut out for him. Jack Harder's done a great defensive job on Wright. Wright's only gone 1 game the whole year without scoring in double figures, and he went almost 5.5 minutes without getting a basket in the first quarter. So Coach Rosenstill's gonna have to work on something with their team to get the ball to Wright and maybe set some picks or some screens. I haven't seen too many picks or screens being run on that man defense there. So they're gonna have to spring Wright free and maybe go into the press of their own.
Okay, we have halftime here right now. The score is 41-27. Anderson is out on top, and we're going to be back with more halftime activities right after this. Okay, we're back at Mackey Arena. We've got about 5 minutes left in our halftime show. Anderson leads Lebanon right now 41-27. So right now, what do you say we take a look at the Anderson Indians and how they made it to this Lafayette Semi-State? And we have to begin over at the Anderson sectional, where number 12th ranked Anderson beat Alexandria 6-6 to 66-50. Anderson then took care of Pendleton Heights, and that score was 81-56. Now moving along in the tournament trail over at the Anderson championship game of that sectional, 12th ranked Anderson beat 10th ranked Anderson Highland, and they beat them by 1. And that final was 74-73. It was David Jackson who hit a shot with 3 seconds left, and that's what did it for Anderson. Now we go over to the Anderson Regional, where Anderson beat up on Wapahani, where they beat them by 21 points, and that final was 78-57. Then in the championship game of the Anderson Regional, it was 12th ranked Anderson coming out on top by a score of 72-63. So that kind of gives you the story of how the Anderson Indians made it to this semi-state here in Lafayette. And in a moment, we're going to take a look at Lebanon, but we're going to keep it here for a little while, where, as I said, the score is 41-27. And also one of the big stories in this semi-state action, game 1, has to be David Wright, who is the leading scorer for Lebanon. And he came into this ball game averaging 23.5 points per game. And as you made the point earlier, Harder for Anderson has done an excellent job on Wright, and he just has 7 points.
Yeah, Wright looks a little frustrated here too now. They really can't get him the ball how they want to. He's been used to getting the ball underneath or even a little bit in the perimeter the whole year long, and he's been getting his easy 15-foot jump shot. They say he's one of the best pure shooters coming out of Lebanon since Rick Bounce. But, you know, the defense Anderson's throwing at him is really, they put the clamps down on him. So, like I said, they got to spring him loose if they hope to get back into this game.
Okay, we showed you the tournament story for Anderson. Now, what's the story for the Lebanon Tigers? Well, we're going to take a look at after this. At the half, the score reads Anderson 41, Lebanon 27. Here at Mackey Arena at the half, the score reads Anderson 41, Lebanon 27. Now let's take a look at the Lebanon Tigers and show you how they carved out their path to the Lafayette semi-state. And we start off at the sectional at Lebanon, where Lebanon beat Western Boone by a score of 43-31. Now in the championship game of the Lebanon sectional, Lebanon scored a 12-point win over Zionsville, 47-35. We then go to the Frankfurt Regional, where Lebanon beat Plainfield by 1, 47-46. And then to get here to this meeting with Anderson, they beat North Montgomery by 8, 59-51. We still have about 20 seconds left in the half. Bob Alvarez, Kevin Medved, and Phil Gerbic back with you at Mackey Arena, where Anderson leads Lebanon 41-27. And Kevin and Phil, I want to start with you. Just some of your thoughts about what should happen here in the second half.
Well, Bob, I'm sure that Jim Rosensteel is certainly a little bit upset about the way his team performed in the first half. They weren't really blocking out. They're allowing Anderson too many offensive rebounds, too many second shots at the basket. I think we're going to see them try to establish better defensive position and work a little bit harder for their shots in the second half in order to get back in this ball game.
Okay, we have the tip-off for the second half underway. Anderson and Lafayette, or Anderson and Lebanon. Anderson's first shot is no good, but once again, they're going to get the second shot, and it's good.
Coach Rosensteel is not very happy with that. I know he probably gave it to him a little bit at halftime, and here's the first play of the second half, and it's exactly what has been beating them the whole game, the offensive rebound basket.
Okay, Anderson leads 43-27. Steve Johnson now has 11 points for Anderson. Outside jumper is going to fall for David Wright. Now he has 9 points.
David Wright scores. Wright.
Lebanon staying in that 1-3-1, Bob.
Troy Lewis from the outside. He now has 16, and it's 45-29 in favor of Anderson. So we've seen him in the opening moments here of the second half, put it up from the inside with the rebound basket, and the outside Troy Lewis.
Looks like Wright's going to do a little bit more one-on-one in the second half here. He's the bread and butter. That's what they're going to have to go to. They expect to get back in the game.
Well, obviously he has to score. Troy Lewis again from the baseline.
Lewis has got real good shooting form, Bob. Once he gets up in the air, he's got real good extension. Really follows through on his shot.
18 points. David Wright.
David Wright scores. Wright.
It's a shootout between Troy Lewis and David Wright here in the opening minutes.
That's Wright's fourth shot already in the second half. So you know exactly that Coach Rosen still told him, he says, get the ball to Wright and let him shoot.
Anderson's hit on 4 of their first 5 field goal attempts here, Bob, in the second half.
Playing a tight man defense there.
Nice rejection by Lewis. Scott Lewis running the fast break. He'll take it all the way.
It's a good call.
Charge.
It's a good call. Scott Lewis a little slow coming up off the floor there.
Number 13. Number 1.
And there's a big cheer right now here at Mackey as the Lew Wallace Hornets are heading towards the locker room, get ready for game 2. Nice move. Baseline drive is going to go. Nice action by the ref.
Yeah. A little Hollywood there, Bob.
David Jackson's going to get nailed with the foul. And the basket's going to be good by Scott Wood. It's going to count. That gives him 6 points on the ball game. And the score is now 49-33. Lebanon finds themselves down by 16 with a chance to cut it at the charity stripe. Free throw will fall. Scott Wood now has 7 points. The score is 49-34 in favor of the Anderson Indians. Lebanon still in the zone. Anderson working around the top of the key.
They're a well-coached game, Bob. They pass the ball around. If they don't see they have the good shot, they'll go ahead and kick it right back out.
Harder, baseline, won't get it. Klingler high with the rebound. He's only 5 foot 10 inches. He's up there with the pyramids to pull it down.
He did his own version of skywalking there, Bob.
Wright with the fall away. David Wright now scored 6 points here in the third quarter. He has 13 for a total. Anderson lead is now cut to 13.
Yeah, that's exactly what Lebanon's going to have to do. They're going to have to make a little run at him.
Harder went inside to challenge Steve Wallace. Steve Wallace says, this is my territory. You're not coming. And he comes up with a blocked shot. Baseline jumper won't fall. Harder
he
with
comes
the
right
rebound.
back down on though and does a nice defensive job, boxing out and putting a hand to David Wright's face.
And that pass there is a little bit too slick.
Right now, Bob is doing an excellent job of getting back down court and setting up the Anderson fast break.
Okay, we've got a timeout, but we're going to keep it right here. And we've got 4:27 left to go in the third quarter. Anderson's out on top 49-36. But right now, we're going to take a look at the halftime stats from the first half of play. And Phil, you have the lowdown there.
Yeah, Bob, we've got Anderson hitting on 17 to 34 field goals in the first half for 50%. From the line, they were shooting 7 out of 11. Lebanon, on the other hand, had hit on 11 of only 25 attempts for 44%, hitting 5 of 8 shots from the charity stripe. But the big difference there is that Anderson had 9 more shots at the basket, and of those 9 shots, probably 7 of them came on offensive rebounds. Rebounds are fairly even. Anderson had a 4-point rebound edge, 19 to 15, and Lebanon turned the ball over 3 more times than Anderson.
Okay, that's the story from the first half of play as we quickly go through the first half stats. 4:27 is left to play here in the third quarter. Anderson still holding on to the lead. They are now up by 13 at 49-36. And the Indians are going to be on defense here. They're going to go with some token pressure here in the backcourt.
This is where Lebanon's got a little bit of the momentum now swung their way. They need to score here again. They need to get a couple of more baskets here. Maybe cut that lead down to maybe 9-8 points by the start of the fourth quarter and give them a real shot at coming back and winning this game.
Wright's going to hit the jumper.
Yeah, he's heating up a little bit now, Bob. He's taking Carter outside now and in the perimeter. He was having trouble scoring from underneath in the baseline, but now he's got him out front.
And once again, Anderson with the second shot. Steve Johnson now has 15.
Johnson playing with 4 fouls to go.
David Wright tries the glass but won't get it to fall.
Good defensive play there. Good defensive play, but he stepped on the line.
It's going to go out of bounds to Anderson. I want to remind you that you're watching the Lafayette Semi-State live here on WCAE-TV in St. John, Indiana. Glad that you could be with us this morning. Coming up, we have the Lew Wallace Hornets going up against Benton Central. After the game won, and we're right here, 3:28 left in the third quarter. Anderson leads 51-38. They have a double dribble or a walk.
Yeah, take your pick. Results the same, it's a turnover. Lebanon with the ball back here.
And inbounding for Lebanon will be number 34, Joe Klingler. Number 21 is Ed Schilling.
See, Anderson's come back with that full court pressure again, Bob.
Lebanon's gone with their starters this entire ball game. They will not play more than 8 ball players. So fatigue could be a key. But once again, Lebanon only gets one shot.
Johnson way up in the air to get that one, too.
Bad pass by Scott Lewis. Another bad pass.
Yeah, and he come right back, and he says, I can make one, too.
David Wright, and you don't expect that from him.
David Wright had a good position to make a steal on that, Bob, but he was anxious. They were coming down to a 2-on-2, no advantage to the Tigers, and they threw the ball away. Got him down court now.
Lewis again turns it over. Wright may keep this one himself. Nice hand.
Good defensive play.
Steve Johnson with the hands knocked it away from Wright.
I think Wright should have gave that ball up, Bob. He had him open underneath, and it looked like he was going to take it himself. I think he should have passed that ball up to the man he had underneath open. David Wright was probably thinking about the turnover he just committed not moments ago. Exactly.
That's 2 turnovers in a row for Wright, and it's not what you see in a ball player of his caliber. Inside, intimidation.
Yeah, exactly.
And the second shot won't fall.
Schilling had 2 fairly easy shots there at the bucket, Bob. They can't afford to miss those.
Lewis from the outside. Scott Lewis won't get it to go, but we're going to have a foul on Scott Lewis.
That's kind of a iffy call there. I mean, the man did go down. I don't think the ref really wanted to blow the whistle until he saw that Anderson was going to get the ball.
We've got a substitution now in the ball game. Scott Lewis, who just committed that foul, is going to have a seat, and Larry Lane is in the ball game. You get a little more height in there for Anderson. Lane is a 6'5" sophomore.
Yeah, aggressive sophomore, too. He plays really well. I think that's going to enable now Troy Lewis to come out at the guard position. I think Coach L likes this lineup. He likes to let Lewis work the ball out from the perimeter.
Larry Wright David Wright off the glass.
There's a potential there, huh, Bob?
Exactly. We've seen that enough. 17 points now for Wright. He's had 7 in the first half. Scored 10 here in the third quarter. And number 41, John Harder, gets his first field goal this game. He has 3 points. And Anderson's out on top, 53-40. Once again, that lead is 13 points. Klingler likes the baseline, but won't get it to foul.
Woo! Woo! He come down high with that one, Bobby.
Steve Johnson very high with the rebound.
And another one, too.
And it's getting a little rough.
Yeah, it is. Got to settle down the Anderson ball players there. They don't need to pick up the foolish technical right now.
That's right. David Jackson getting a little hot. Johnson says, "Hey, Dave, we got a 13-point lead, my man. Let's stay cool."
If I was Lebanon right now, I'd bring the ball to Scott Wood and let him work against Johnson. Get him out of the game. He's just doing too much work on both ends of the board. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pick up that 5th foul on Johnson.
Well, Steve Wallace got the bucket for Lebanon. The score is 53-42. Lebanon's cut the lead to 11. A big possession here. They can hold Anderson. They can score and get the lead down to single digits. 15-footer, no. Lewis the rebound. Nice head fake.
Nice move.
Pro move.
Yeah, I agree, Bob. Yeah, what? Now there's only probably the best junior prospect in the state, but I haven't seen that too many seniors play better ball than he is.
He's definitely probably the best player on this floor right now.
Yeah, there's a block shot there. Harder just blocked one of Wright's field goal attempts from the baseline. And he comes back and he dishes a nice pass off, a nice bounce pass to the basket.
So Troy Lewis is averaging about 4 assists a game, so not only will he shoot it up a lot, he'll also dish it off when he has to. Anderson back on top by 15. That jumper won't foul.
Looks like it was a header there from soccer, I think.
Wallace Johnson, a man.
He's playing possessed on the boards there.
Playing a mean game on the rebounds. Lewis, yes. 19 points for Lewis at the buzzer. And at the end of the third quarter, the score is Anderson 59, Lebanon 42. We'll be back with fourth quarter action after this.
7.
And welcome back to Mackey Arena for the final 8 minutes of play here in the first game of the Lafayette Semi-State. If you just joined us, Anderson has controlled this ball game from the opening tip-off. They lead by 17 points, 59-42, over the Lebanon Tigers. Anderson in white with the red trim, Lebanon in black with the gold trim. We are set to start the fourth quarter.
Anderson had Lebanon had a chance there with a little over a minute to go to cut the lead down to 9, single digits. But Anderson, explosive offense. They just nipped down some fouls and some fast breaks, and here they are up by 17 again. So now Lebanon's in a pretty deep hole here.
And Lebanon controls the opening tip of the fourth quarter. Number 14 is Wright.
There's another block for Harder.
Harder, a superb defensive player.
And I think he's talking to him, Bob, too, a little bit. Maybe he's calling for the ball.
Harder up high. Anderson going up high with their offense. Harder in trouble. Finds David Jackson. Outside to Scott Lewis is number 13. Nice view from our floor camera as you get a look at the Anderson Indians. Jackson is number 15. Number 13 is Scott Lewis. Number 23, Troy Lewis.
Yeah, they can run a little time off the clock now. They will look for the real good shot.
Well, they got the good shot, but couldn't fall. They're going to have a foul. 21, I think, is going to get nabbed with that one. Eddie Schilling. Personal foul number 2, I believe, on Eddie.
Once again, Bob, the whole story of the ball game has been Anderson's ability to get that offensive rebound and take it up again.
Substitutions for Anderson, number 35, Buddy Youngblood in the ball game. Number 44 for Lebanon is Mark Starkey. He is in the game. He was briefly in the ball game in the first half. I made a mistake when I said when Lebanon stayed with their 5 starters. Starkey did see brief action. So basically for Lebanon, it's a 5-man ball club. Anderson out on top, 59-42. We have 6:55 left to go in this first game of the Lafayette Semi-State. There's a turnover. Klingler's going to keep this one. Easy bucket for Klingler. He's now got 8 points on this ball game. And we have a violation down here on the inbounds by Anderson. They said he stepped in bounds and then pulled his feet back out of bounds.
I was looking right at the play, Bob. Yeah, I didn't see it.
The referee is a little bit closer than we are up here in the booth, so Lebanon's going to get the ball. They're down by 15. See if they can cut it to 13. Have a little trouble getting it in bounds, but Klingler now controls on the outside.
He had the 12-footer. I think he should have taken that shot.
Once again, Johnson high with the rebound. 59-44 Anderson. They've controlled this one from the beginning. Troy Lewis inside the paint has it rejected. Steve Wallace on the rejection. David Wright is going to dish it off. Baseline. Yes. Mark Starkey gets his first bucket of the ball game. 59-46 Anderson. Lebanon's cut it to 13. 6 minutes left to play. Once again, we take you there briefly to our floor camera. Now we're out up on top so you can see how the offense sets up. Troy Lewis inside, easy bucket.
He plays well. He plays real well without the ball, Bob. He'll sneak underneath, and just like they did, he'll get the pass, he'll go up with it, and you can't stop it.
Well, so far this ball game, we've seen a great offensive performance by Troy Lewis, and we've seen a yeoman's job on the boards by that man number 31, Steve Johnson. Quickly down court, Anderson. The foul, the basket will not count.
They might have counted that one, but here, we're here at the high school in Lafayette. They're not going to give them that one.
And that foul was on number 31 for Lebanon, and that, or the 21, excuse me, Ed Schilling, his third foul, second team foul.
Bob, Lebanon's down by 15 points now, so they've gone to a man-to-man, and Anderson's really trying to spread them out.
Troy Lewis, he'll take it, he'll sink it. 23 points for Troy Lewis. Just a junior, and the Purdue Boilermakers want that man.
I think there's a lot of schools out there that want that man.
Gene Cady is highly recruiting Troy Lewis. David Wright answers for Lebanon. He now has 19 in this ball game. Looks like we're going to have an official's timeout with 5 minutes left to play. Anderson leads this one 63-48. We'll be right back.
At 6.
Okay, we're back at Mackey where we have 5 minutes on top 63-48. They've been in control of the entire ball game. Number 23, Troy Lewis. He has 23 points, and we've got a foul on Lebanon.
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, Steve Johnson's played this whole second half now, and I don't think he's even come close to committing that fifth foul. Kind of surprised that Lebanon didn't try to work that foul against him, but I think it might be a little bit too late now anyway.
Well, you're right there, Ken. He has played well with 4 fouls. From the baseline, it's good.
Buddy Youngblood. That's Hollywood PR's dream name there, Bob. Buddy Youngblood.
And he gets his first 2 of the ball game. Anderson now on top 65-48. Time running out for Lebanon. 4:32 left in the ball game. Outside jumper, no. Rebound, loose ball fought for. We're going to have a foul on number 22. Steve Wallace picks up his second. Anderson's going to inbound the ball. Number 35, Buddy Youngblood, will trigger it inbounds. Lebanon with some pressure. Immediately the ball goes in the hands of Troy Lewis and Scott. Anderson's going to spread it out. We've got 4:15, 65-48. Almost got away with a walk there. Nice play by Klingler. Another steal by Lebanon. Wright.
Got away with the travel there, Bob.
Over the back. Over the back.
No, if they're going to count that basket.
No basket.
No, I don't think so. He fouled him before he got his hand on the ball. That was a good call by the ref.
Ed Schilling over the back, and that is 3 or 4 personal fouls on Ed Schilling.
That sends Johnson to the line. He's been playing well underneath. He's been around the basket. The ball's been right where he's been playing on that the whole game. Now he's going to be shooting from the free throw line here.
And we almost lost our monitor there.
Good thing it wasn't the Merrimack.
And checking out of the ball game now for Anderson is number 13, Scott Lewis. Number 25 in the ball game, Pat Ginley, is in the game for Anderson. Johnson doesn't get that one to fall. Rejection.
Good block by Johnson.
(65-48). Anderson's out on top. Lebanon's on the break. That's Klingler. And he's gotten a lot of those buckets today.
And he's spent a lot of time on the floor today, too. I think he's been on the floor as much as anybody I've seen lately.
65-50. Anderson leads with 3:20 left to go in the first game of the Lafayette Semi-State. Don't forget, coming up next, the Lou Wallace Hornets against Benton Central. And we'll be with you live for that one immediately following the conclusion of this ball game. We're going to have another foul. Lebanon aggressive, but too aggressive. Number 44, Mark Starkey, picks up number 3.
That's about all they can do now. They're down by 15 points. They got to foul them and hope that they're going to miss from the free throw line. That's about the only chance they have left right about now.
Starkey's going to check out of the game. Number 25 checks in for Lebanon. And that's Randy Campbell.
I think Coach getting him in there. This will be his last game as a senior for Lebanon.
Free throws up and good for Larry Lane of Anderson. That's his second point of the ball game. He hit a free throw in the second quarter. He's averaging 4.5 a game. Larry's appeared in 22 ball games this year for Anderson. Second free throw, yes. They're off the rim. That won't fall. So Lebanon's down now by 16. From the baseline, the corner, there's David Wright. He now has 21 points on the game. Troy Lewis in control for Anderson. Gets it out to Ginley.
He carried it.
Not going to get the call. Troy Lewis will take it from 8 feet out. He won't get it to fall. We're going to have a jump ball. That'll be number 11. This one up. Larry Lane, 6'5". Wright, about 6'3".
Larry Lane, I'm impressed with Larry Lane get off the bench. Not afraid to mix it up.
No, Anderson's deep in the bench. And that's probably what got him that 21-4 season this year. Klingler's not afraid to mix it up, but can't get it to fall on the rebound. That's Eddie Schilling. He now has 6.
Lebanon's inexperience showed a little bit here today.
66-54. Anderson in control. Klingler, yes. He now has 12 points. The lead is cut to 10. Heads up play by Klingler. Quickly down court, Anderson, and they're going to bring it back down.
Lane. Get the ball right back out. Don't need to take the shot.
Double dribble. Looks like Norm Held went to his bench a little early.
Yeah, he's coming right back in now with
Scott Lewis. We've got a timeout. We're going to keep it right here as the action's getting pretty hot. Anderson had a 16-point lead at 66-50, and now it's a 10-point lead at 66-56.
That's still 2 minutes. There's plenty of time. Anything can happen in 2 minutes. With some free throws or a couple.
Eddie Schilling with the big basket.
I tell you, every time I look down on the court, I see 2 or 3 Lebanon ball players picking themselves off the hardwood. There's going to be a lot of scrapes and bumps and bruises for Lebanon tonight.
Lebanon timeout, Bob.
And the crowd has come alive here for the Lebanon Tigers. They were down 66-50. Now the score is 68-62. Some heads-up plays by Joey Klingler. Some key shooting by Ed Schilling. We've got 1:02 left, and we've got ourselves a ball game. Kevin, if I didn't know better, I'd think we're down at West Side at the regional last week.
Well, I tell you, last week when Wallace was down there, and they were down by 8 points with less than 3 minutes to go in the game, I think people in the stands were a little skeptical, but they could come back. But this is unbelievable. They're down by 16 with just a little over 4 minutes to go, and here it is, they're right in the game with just a little over a minute to play.
Okay, let's set the stage. 1:02 left here in this first game of the Lafayette semi-state. Anderson 68, Lebanon 62. And we're going to have a foul.
That's his 5th, too. He's out of the game, Bob.
That's all. That's all for Steve Johnson, his 5th foul. He's out of here. He played the whole second half. He came into the second half with 3, and now he's fouled out. And that'll send Lebanon to the line. Number 21, Eddie Schilling.
They can cut this lead to 4 points without 1 second going off the clock.
And with Johnson out of the lineup, that's your major force on the inside. That's a lot of rebounds for Anderson.
Well, I don't know exactly what the total is today, but I know he's had a bushel full.
Looks like Joe Klingler might be a little shaken up right here. He's played his heart out, and he's played this entire game. He's going to go over to the bench. Or no, he's going to stay in the ball game.
They're not into the bonus yet, Bob.
No, they're not in the bonus. Lebanon's going to have the ball inbounds. 34, Joey Klingler will trigger it. 1:02 left. Anderson's up by 6. They've squandered a 16-point lead. 21 is Eddie Schilling. He's going to take the long-range jumper. No, big rebound, Scott Lewis, and a foul.
A little push and shoving down there underneath. Scott Lewis had the ball, and number 22 for Lebanon, Steve Wallace slapped it out of his hands after the foul was called, and Lewis gave him a little shove back. Nothing much, just a little heated exchange here under the game conditions.
Well, the action's heated up. Anderson's going to be at the line, and Scotty Lewis is going to be up there.
I think Schilling took that shot a little early. It was a bad shot, and he just got grazed a part of the rim.
Big miss by Scott Lewis, and the lead remains at 6 points. 50 seconds left to play in this ball game. Anderson 68, Lebanon 62. 34 Klingler, a long-range jumper, yes! Randy Campbell, his first bucket of the ball game. Troy Lewis for Anderson, off the glass, yes!
I don't know, I think there should have been a foul on somebody there.
Lewis now has 27, 30 seconds left. Anderson's up by 6, 70-64. No foul called. A turnover.
I'll tell you, Bob, there could have been 2 charges called right there on that play, and he gave him the benefit of the doubt in a close game, but down at the other end, too, it looked like there should have been something called.
A key turnover by Lebanon, 23 seconds left. Anderson triggers it inbound. Steal. Anderson's ball. We have down court pass.
What a jam here.
Larry Lane. Larry Lane's got 4.
That did it, Bob. That did it. You really got the roar out of the Anderson crowd, too.
Troy Lewis with the rebound. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. We've got a foul. Three seconds left to play. It looks as though Anderson's going to make it to the championship ball game. 72-64 Anderson.
Looks like this one's history, Bob. Lebanon gave Anderson quite a scare, but the Indians were able to pull it out.
And here's a good move by Coach Jim Rosensteel. He's going to get some of his subs off the bench here to say that they participated in a Lafayette semi-state. There's a nice shot by our camera crew.
These boys came out here today, Bob, and played their heart out. They're giving 110%. I'm sure that neither coach will be disappointed with anyone's play here today.
We've got wholesale changes now on the floor. Lebanon and Anderson going with some wholesale changes. When play resumes, Troy Lewis, number 23, will be at the line. 27 points for Mr. Lewis.
Well, we knew that Troy was a scorer, and he really showed it this morning.
Make it 28. Troy Lewis has 28 points in this ball game. He leads all scorers. David Wright is high point man for Lebanon. He's got 21, make it 29 for Mr. Lewis. 2 seconds left, that one will count. This ball game's over. And the first game of the Lafayette semi-state is history. 74-64. Anderson is a winner. A hard-fought ball game by the Lebanon Tigers. They were down by 16 points at 66-60. They fought back to cut it, or 66-50, I'm sorry. They fought back to cut it to 66-60 before finally falling by 10. That's the final score of 74-64. We're going to be back with post-game activities after this.
With me here is Coach Norm Held of the victorious Anderson Indians. Coach, congratulations, and great game by Troy Lewis.
Troy did play well today. He didn't shoot the ball very well the first half, but I thought he kind of took over the second half, and I kind of expect him to make every shot he takes, but he's not going to do that.
Well, I think another key, too, is John Harder played a great game against David Wright.
Yes, he did a good ball. He had a good ball game. John's not feeling very well, I don't think, and I took him out of there. I tried to rest him a lot. In fact, we didn't play several of our people quite a bit in the second half, anticipating we might win, but they made a nice run at us. They got very hot. We made a couple of crucial turnovers by a couple of substitutes I had in the ball game, and it hurt us a little bit, so we had to get the others back in there real quick.
Steve Johnson was just taking everything off the basket today.
And playing with 4 fouls at that particular time, I thought he played really well. He rebounded quite well. When he plays like that, we're a good basketball team.
Yeah, you limited Lebanon to one shot at the basket, and you yourself may have had 8 or 9, maybe 10 offensive baskets.
Yeah, we had several of those. We had several transition baskets. They got a couple of those, but not enough to really hurt. When you play pressure, they're going to get a few of those.
Coach, any preference for tonight's game? Who'd you like to play?
Well, on paper, I'd rather play Benton Central, but I don't have any preference other than that. You know, Gary Wallace is a very big basketball team. We'd have to play very well to beat them, obviously, but we're just happy to be in the final game. We're 5-0 here at Mackey and looking for 6.
The diplomat, that is what you're saying. Well, thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations and good luck to you tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin Medved. Nice interview there with winning coach Norm Held, and you heard Coach Held. On paper, he says he'd like to play Benton Central here in the second game, but we'll see what happens. And we have that second game coming up pretty soon, the Lew Wallace Hornets and Benton Central. We're going to keep it right here for a little bit. Once again, that final score was 74-64. Anderson controlled the ball game the entire way. The game was tightened up at the end. Lebanon came back within 6, but Anderson wins it by 10, 74-64. We're going to come back and take a look at some of the final stats after this. And we're back here at Mackey, and the big roar you hear is for the Lew Wallace Hornets, who are just going through some foot speed drills on the court. And they're coming up in game 2, and they're going to take on Benton Central. And we're going to have our post-game or our pre-game activities for that ball game coming up in just a little bit, but we want to keep it here right now and talk some more about the ball game that we just saw. The Anderson Indians, and Norm Held made the point they are 5-0 here at Mackey. They beat Lebanon 74-64, and now it's time to take a look at those final stats, Phil.
All right, Bob, for Anderson in the first game here today, we had the Indians hitting 32 of 59 field goals for 54%. They were 10 of 17 from the line for 59%, 19 turnovers for Anderson with 14 in the second half. They had 36 rebounds compared to the 21 rebounds for Lebanon. Lebanon, on the other hand, hit on 29 of 66 for 44%. Only shot 9 free throws in that ball game, Bob, for hitting 6 of those for 67%, but that made quite a difference in the final score. Turnovers, Lebanon only had 12, but the ones they did have were mostly in the first half, and they were costly to them.
Okay, thanks a lot, Phil. That's a look at the final stats. So the Anderson Indians are going to shower up, and they're going to wait for their next opponent in tonight's championship game. And who will it be? The Wallace Hornets or the Bisons of Benton Central? We'll be back to take a look at today's second game after this.
Acquisition and broadcast of today's first game of the Lafayette Semi-State was made possible through grants from American Savings and Loan Association of Munster, Indiana, Hook's Dependable Drugs, Pepsi-Cola Bottlers Company Incorporated of Munster, Indiana, and Midas Muffler and Brake Shop, located on Route 30 between Cleveland and Broadway in Merrillville, Indiana. Today's pre-game show for the second game of the Lafayette Semi-State between the Hornets of Lew Wallace and the Benton Central Bisons is made possible through grants from Beatty Machine and Manufacturing Company of Hammond, Indiana, Calumet College, the college with the personal touch in Whiting, Indiana, and the Oil Express 10-minute oil change in Hammond, Highland, and on US 30 in Merrillville.
And welcome back to Mackey Arena. We're moments away from game number 2, the Lew Wallace Hornets and the Benton Central Bisons. Phil, a little noisy right here. We're right in front of Benton Central's cheering squad, but what about the Bisons?
Well, Bob, if you had to pick a dark horse team for this semi-state, it would have to be Benton Central's Bisons. Coach Mike Williams is bringing a team in here that's 14-10. Weren't expected to make it out of their regional. They're led by 6'6" senior John Christopher. John's a good, strong player on the inside, and he can shoot the ball from out. I might add that John is one of 4 seniors on this squad that have played together since 8th grade. So these boys really know each other and should know how to play together. The other starter for Benton Central will be 5'10" freshman Todd Bacon. So we got an interesting contrast there with 4 seniors and 1 freshman in the starting lineup.
Okay, thank you, Phil. That's what we can expect from the Benton Central Bisons. And about those Lew Wallace Hornets, Ken, a lot of folks said they got the easy draw.
Well, when you get down here, nothing's easy, Bob. You throw out the records and you throw out what looks like good on paper or whatever, and you just play it by ear. Wallace will probably try to run a little bit against the slower team, but also probably try to go inside with Frank and Fort and Asbury. They got a big height disadvantage, and that's what I look to see. I look to see Wallace go inside and often and throughout this game.
Okay, let's go back 1 week ago when the Hornets squeaked by East Chicago Roosevelt.